Commander Hana Kim walked through the massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber. Her heart was beating fast, but she kept her face calm. She had waited 15 years for this moment. 15 years of learning alien languages, studying their cultures, and preparing Earth's case for membership in the Galactic Federation. The chamber was huge. It stretched up so high that she could barely see the ceiling. Thousands of seats rose in circles around the central floor, and in those seats sat representatives from 849 different alien species. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that Hana had trouble understanding how they even lived. She walked to the center of the floor. Her footsteps echoed in the silence. Every eye, and some things that weren't quite eyes, watched her. She was the first human to ever stand in this place. Hana activated her presentation device. A hologram of Earth appeared above her head, spinning slowly. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. Her homeworld looked beautiful in the light of the chamber. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," she began. Her voice was steady and clear. "I come before you today representing humanity and the planet Earth. We wish to join the Galactic Federation as equal members." She started her presentation. She showed Earth's achievements in science and technology. She displayed humanity's art, music, and literature. She explained how humans had learned to live in peace after centuries of war. She talked about the 37 colony worlds that humans had settled in just 200 years of space travel. For 30 minutes, she spoke with passion and pride about her species. When she finished, she stood straight and waited for the council's response. The silence lasted only a moment. Then someone laughed. It was a harsh barking sound. Other laughs joined it. Within seconds, the entire chamber filled with laughter. Some aliens made clicking sounds. Others produced noises that Hana couldn't even describe. But she understood what they meant. They were all laughing at her. Her face stayed calm, but inside something cold settled in her chest. A massive creature rose from the highest seat. It had 6 legs and a body covered in dark scales. This was Thrixnel, the leader of the Vraxian Imperium. His voice boomed across the chamber. "Humanity wishes to join the Federation," he said. More laughter rippled through the room. "You are children, infants playing with toys you barely understand. You achieved faster than light travel only 300 years ago. Some of us here have been traveling the stars for 10,000 years. A snake-like being slithered forward. This was the ambassador from the Kelthoran Collective. Its voice hissed like steam. "Look at their military data. They have fewer than 200 warships. 200! We could destroy their entire species in an afternoon. They are weaker than the weakest species in this chamber." An insect-like creature with many arms clicked its mandibles. "They still use primitive chemical rockets for some of their ships." "Chemical rockets. My ancestors abandoned such technology before your star was born." Hana stood in the center of it all. She watched them mock everything she had shown them. Everything humanity had achieved. They treated it like a joke. Like humans were nothing. Thrixnel raised one of his clawed hands. The laughter slowly died down. "We will vote on Earth's application," he announced. "All in favor of granting humanity full membership in the Galactic Federation?" Lights appeared in the chamber. Each seat had a small light that would glow green for yes or red for no. Hana watched as red light spread through the chamber like a disease. Red, 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 everywhere red. Only 2 small green lights appeared in the far corner. 2 votes out of 849. "The vote is complete," Thrixnel said. His voice sounded almost bored. 847 members vote against. 2 vote in favor. Earth's application is denied. The Kelthoran ambassador slithered closer to Hana. "However, we are not entirely heartless. We understand that a primitive species like yours needs protection. The galaxy is dangerous. There are pirates, raiders, and hostile forces everywhere. We offer Earth provisional protectorate status." Hana's jaw tightened. She knew what protectorate status meant. It meant Earth would become a vassal state. Humans would have to pay tribute to the Federation. Human ships would need permission to travel through space. Human worlds would be under alien control. "You would be safe under our protection," the insect creature added. Its voice tried to sound kind, but Hana heard the mockery underneath. "All we would require is reasonable taxation and adherence to our laws." "It is a generous offer." Hana took a deep breath. She looked up at Thrixnel and the thousands of aliens surrounding her. When she spoke, her voice was ice. "Earth declines your offer of protectorate status. We will proceed independently." The chamber erupted in noise. Some aliens laughed harder than before. Others made sounds of disbelief. Foolish, Thrixnel rumbled. You will not survive 5 years without our protection. The galaxy will eat you alive. Hana turned and walked toward the exit. Behind her, she heard voices placing bets. They were betting on how long humanity would last. 1 year, said one voice. 6 months, said another. Some bet that Earth would be destroyed within weeks. She kept walking. Her hands were clenched into fists behind her back, but her face showed nothing. She would not give them the satisfaction of seeing her anger. Outside the chamber, her aide Jiho Park was waiting. He was young, barely 30, with worried eyes. Commander, I heard everything through the broadcast. Are you all right? Hana didn't answer immediately. She walked to the viewport that looked out into space. Somewhere out there, beyond the lights of the station, was Earth. Her home. The home of 8 billion humans who were depending on her. They laughed at us, Jiho said quietly. They treated us like we were nothing. Yes, Hana said. Her voice was soft, but there was something hard in it. Something that hadn't been there before. They did. What do we do now? Hana stared out at the stars for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her words were quiet. But Jiho would remember them for the rest of his life. We go home. We prepare, and we make sure that they regret this day. All of them. She turned away from the viewport. Her face was calm again, but her eyes were different. They held something cold and determined. Something that would not bend or break. How long will that take? Jiho asked. As long as it takes, Hana replied. Contact Earth, tell them we're coming home. Tell them to gather the best scientists, engineers, and military minds we have. Tell them that everything changes now. Yes, Commander. As their ship prepared to leave the station, Hana stood alone in her quarters. She thought about the laughter, the mockery, the contempt in their voices. They thought humanity was weak. They thought humans were nothing. They would learn. The galaxy would learn, and by the time the lesson was over, every species in that chamber would understand what it meant to make an enemy of humanity. She didn't know exactly how yet. But she knew one thing with absolute certainty. 15 years from now, or 50, or 100, it didn't matter. Humanity would return to that chamber. And when they did, no one would be laughing. 15 years passed in silence. The galaxy forgot about humanity. Earth became a story that alien ambassadors told at parties. Remember those primitive humans who got rejected? Remember how they were so arrogant that they refused protectorate status? I wonder if they're even still alive. But Earth had not forgotten. Earth was very much alive. And Earth was busy. Hana Kim returned home to a planet ready for change. She was no longer just a commander. The governments of Earth united for the first time in human history and gave her a new title, Director of Terran Strategic Command. She had complete authority over humanity's military development. No committees, no debates, just results. Her first meeting was with Admiral Dongyun Choi. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had served in the Earth Defense Fleet for 30 years and understood war better than anyone alive. We have 200 ships, he told Hana. Most of them are outdated. Our weapons are primitive compared to alien technology. Our shields are weak. In a straight fight, any major alien power could destroy us easily. Then we don't fight straight, Hana said. She pulled up a star map. We have 15 years of isolation before anyone expects to hear from us. Maybe more. In that time, we build a fleet that can challenge the entire galaxy. That's impossible, Dongyun said. But he was smiling. I'll start immediately. Her second meeting was with Dr. Unisong. The scientist was younger than Hana expected, barely 40, with quick hands and quicker mind. She was the head of advanced weapons research. I've been studying the alien technology we captured over the years, Una said. She pulled up holographic displays showing complex designs. Their weapons are powerful, but they're inefficient. They waste energy. Their shields use old theories. Their ships are slow. They've been using the same technology for thousands of years because no one challenged them. Can we do better? Hana asked. Yuna's eyes lit up. I can do much better. Give me resources and time. I'll give you weapons that will make them wish they had accepted our application. The third person Hana recruited was Jiho Park. He was no longer a young aide. He was a colonel now, tough and experienced. She made him her second in command. Some people think we're going too far, Jiho said during one of their planning sessions. Building weapons. Preparing for war. They say we should try diplomacy again. The galaxy chose this path, Hana replied. They could have welcomed us as friends. Instead, they mocked us and threatened us. Now they'll see what humanity does when threatened. Earth changed rapidly. Every colony world contributed resources. Massive shipyards appeared in orbit around gas giants. Underground research facilities dug deep into moons and asteroids. Millions of humans worked on the project. Most didn't know the full plan, but they all knew they were building something important. The years passed with steady progress. Year 2849. Dr. Yuna's team perfected quantum entanglement communication. Human ships could now communicate instantly across any distance. Alien races still relied on signal repeaters that took hours or days to transmit messages. Year 2851. The first tests of Project Ragnarok began. Jiho watched from a safe distance as a new weapon tore a small moon apart. "We need to name this something less scary," he suggested. Hana disagreed. "The name is perfect." Year 2854. The first Olympus-class dreadnought completed construction. It was 5 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to level a planet. Admiral Donghyun stood on its bridge and smiled. "Build me 100 more," he said. Year 2857. Yuna made another breakthrough. She called Hana in the middle of the night, too excited to wait. "I've done it." Hyperspace folding. "Our ships can cross distances in minutes that take alien ships weeks. We'll move like ghosts." Year 2860. The Ghost Fleet became operational. These were warships with no crews. Artificial intelligence controlled them with perfect precision. They could fight without fear, without hesitation, without mercy. Jiho watched them maneuver during tests and felt a chill. "These things are terrifying," he said. "Good," Hana replied. Year 2862. Yuna called her final meeting. Hana, Donghyun, and Jiho gathered in the secret lab deep under Earth's surface. Yuna looked tired but proud. "Quantum disruptors," she said. She showed them simulations. "These weapons don't just destroy matter. They tear apart the molecular bonds that hold atoms together. A ship hit by this weapon simply stops existing. No explosion, no debris, just nothing." "Can other species defend against it?" Donghyun asked. "No. Their shield technology can't even detect it until it's too late. We'll have a massive advantage." Yuna paused. "This technology is dangerous." "Very dangerous. I need you to promise me we'll only use it if absolutely necessary." Hana looked at the simulation. She thought about the laughter in the council chamber 15 years ago. "I promise we'll use it wisely." The final inventory was complete. Earth now had 2,000 warships. Not 200. 2,000. Each one was more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships were faster, stronger, and better armed than even the most powerful alien vessels. But the galaxy didn't know. As far as they were concerned, humanity was still that weak species with 200 outdated ships. If they thought about Earth at all, they assumed humans were probably dead or dying somewhere in the outer rim. Hana stood in the command center of Terran Strategic Command. Around her, holographic displays showed the entire galaxy. Every major alien power was marked. The Vraxian Imperium, the Kelthoran Collective, the Ashenkur Dynasty. All the species that had laughed at her. Jiho stood beside her. "Are you sure about this? Once we start, there's no going back." "I've never been more sure of anything," Hana said. She touched the display marking the Vraxian border territories. "They started this 15 years ago. We're going to finish it." Admiral Donghyun appeared on a communication screen. He was on the bridge of the TSS Retribution, the flagship of the human fleet. Behind him, Hana could see other ships in formation. Hundreds of them. "Fleet is ready, Director," Donghyun said. "All ships report full combat readiness. Ghost Fleet is in position. We await your orders." Hana looked at the star map one more time. She thought about standing alone in that chamber. She thought about the contempt in their voices. She thought about how they had threatened her entire species. "Begin Operation Reckoning," she said quietly. "Target the Vraxian border colonies first. Show them what happens when you mock humanity." "Yes, Director." Donghyun's image disappeared. Across human space, 2,000 warships moved as one. They entered hyperspace and vanished from all sensors. The galaxy had no idea they were coming. At the edge of Vraxian territory, a patrol ship picked up strange readings. The sensors showed something unusual, but the data made no sense. The Vraxian crew tried to analyze it. They tried to send a message to their command. They tried to run. They never got the chance. A human ship appeared from nowhere. The Vraxian patrol ship's shields activated automatically, but it didn't matter. The quantum disruptor hit them and the ship simply stopped existing. No explosion, no debris, just empty space where a ship had been moments before. 12 Vraxian colony worlds went silent within 24 hours. No distress signals, no survivors, no evidence except empty cities and abandoned streets. It was as if every Vraxian on those worlds had simply vanished. The Vraxian High Command received the reports with disbelief. 12 colonies couldn't just disappear. It was impossible. They sent more ships to investigate. Those ships never reported back either. Finally, the Vraxians understood. Someone was attacking them, someone with technology beyond anything they had seen before. They didn't know who. They didn't know why, but they were about to find out. Hana watched the reports come in from her command center. Every target hit, every objective achieved. 0 human casualties. "It's working," Jiho said. He sounded surprised. "Of course it's working," Hana replied. "We had 15 years to prepare." They had 15 years to forget about us. That was their mistake. She opened a communication channel. It would broadcast to every Vraxian ship in their territory. When her face appeared on their screens, she wanted them to remember her. She wanted them to remember the human they had laughed at. "Hello?" she said to the galaxy. "Did you miss us?" The Vraxian High Command sent their best battle fleet. 300 warships, the largest force they had assembled in 2 centuries. They were proud ships with proud crews. The Vraxians had won 1,000 wars. They had conquered 100 species. They believed they were invincible. Admiral Thralkix commanded the fleet from his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. He was a veteran of 50 battles. When he received orders to investigate the missing colonies, he laughed. "Probably just a system malfunction," he told his crew. "We'll find empty worlds and confused colonists. This will be over by dinner." But when his fleet arrived at the border, they found something else. They found a single human ship waiting for them. It was small compared to the Vraxian dreadnoughts. It just floated there in space, making no aggressive moves. The Vraxians surrounded it carefully. Their weapons were armed. Their shields were up. They were ready for anything. Then every screen on every Vraxian ship showed the same image. A human woman appeared. She looked older than the records showed, but Admiral Thralkix recognized her immediately. It was the human who had come to the council 15 years ago, the one they had laughed at. Hana Kim looked directly at the camera. Her voice was calm and cold. 15 years ago, I stood before your leaders and asked for peace. You laughed. You mocked us. You threatened us. Today, you learn what humanity does to those who threaten us." She paused. "You will find no mercy here. Tell your Imperium to surrender, or we will come for your homeworld. You have 1 hour to respond." Admiral Thralkix felt anger rise in his chest. One ship, one human ship threatening his entire fleet. "Destroy that vessel," he ordered. Every Vraxian ship fired at once. Hundreds of energy weapons struck the human ship. The space around it lit up like a star. When the light faded, the Vraxians expected to see debris. The human ship was undamaged. Its shields hadn't even flickered. "Impossible," Thralkix whispered. Then the rest of the human fleet appeared. They didn't fly in from a distance. They didn't emerge from hyperspace slowly. One moment there was empty space. The next moment, 500 human warships surrounded the Vraxian fleet. They had been there all along, invisible, waiting. "All ships, defensive formation," Thralkix shouted. His crew rushed to obey. They were too slow. The human ships moved with impossible speed. They darted between the Vraxian vessels like sharks through small fish. Their weapons fired with perfect accuracy. Every shot hit. Every hit destroyed. Vraxian shields, which had protected them against every enemy they had ever faced, collapsed under human fire. The armor that had been considered the strongest in the galaxy melted like ice under a torch. Ships that had survived 100 battles died in seconds. Thralkix watched in horror as his fleet fell apart. His sensors showed impossible readings. The human ships were moving faster than anything should be able to move. Their weapons were more powerful than anything he had ever seen. And worst of all, his own weapons barely scratched their armor. "Fire everything," he screamed. "Ram them if you have to. Just stop them." But nothing worked. The Vraxians rammed human ships with their dreadnoughts. The human ships didn't even slow down. They just kept firing, kept moving, kept killing. In 2 hours it was over. The entire Vraxian battle fleet was destroyed. 300 ships reduced to drifting debris, thousands of Vraxian warriors dead, and the humans. Not a single human ship was even damaged. Only one Vraxian vessel survived, Thralkix's flagship. The humans had deliberately spared it. Hana's face appeared on his screen again. "Go home," she said. "Tell your emperor what you saw here. Tell him that humanity is coming. Tell him to surrender, or every Vraxian world will share the fate of your colonies." Thralkix's ship limped away. Behind him, the human fleet remained in perfect formation, like predators watching wounded prey escape. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light. At first, most species didn't believe it. The reports had to be wrong. A single human fleet couldn't destroy 300 Vraxian warships. It was impossible. But then more reports came in. Human ships were appearing everywhere. They hit Vraxian supply lines. They destroyed Vraxian military bases. They did it all without losing a single vessel. The impossible was happening. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from all member species gathered in the chamber where Hana had been humiliated 15 years before. But this time, humans sent their own representative. Ambassador Suman Lee appeared as a hologram in the center of the chamber. She was young, barely 30, but she had Hana's cold eyes. She looked around at the assembled aliens with no fear. "Earth requests an explanation," demanded the Kelthoran ambassador. His voice hissed with anger. "You are attacking a member species without provocation. This is an act of war against the entire Federation." "Provocation?" Suman's voice was sharp. "You denied us membership. You mocked us. You offered to enslave us under protectorate status. And when we refused, you laughed and said the galaxy would destroy us. Well, the galaxy tried. The galaxy failed. Now you want to talk about provocation? The Vraxian Imperium will crush you," another ambassador said. "You may have won one battle, but you cannot stand against their full might." Suman smiled. It was not a kind smile. "We already destroyed their full might. That fleet you just heard about? That was their best. Their absolute best. We destroyed it in 2 hours without losing a single ship. How long do you think their second-best fleet will last?" The chamber erupted in angry voices. Some aliens called for immediate military action against humanity. Others argued for negotiation. A few species, the smaller ones who had been bullied by the major powers, stayed silent and watched. The Kelthoran ambassador slithered forward. "The Kelthoran Collective will not tolerate this aggression. We are assembling a grand armada, 1,000 ships. We will remind humanity of its place in this galaxy." "Please do," Suman said. "We look forward to it." Before anyone could respond, she ended the transmission. The hologram disappeared, leaving the council in chaos. In her command center on Earth, Hana watched the recording of the council session. Jiho stood beside her looking worried. "The Kelthorans are serious," he said. 1,000 ships is more than 3 times what the Vraxians sent. "Even with our technology, that's a dangerous fight. Let them come," Hana said. She pulled up a star map. "We're not the same species they remember. We're not even the same species that destroyed the Vraxian fleet. Dr. Yuna has been busy." "What do you mean?" Hana smiled. "The Vraxians never saw our quantum disruptors. We only used conventional weapons against them. We wanted to test our ships in real combat. Now we know they work. The Kelthorans will get the full arsenal." Across human space, the fleet prepared. Admiral Dongyun reviewed the battle plans with his commanders. The Kelthoran armada would arrive at the Helix Nebula in 3 days. That's where the humans would be waiting. Dr. Yuna ran final checks on her weapon systems. The quantum disruptors were ready. She felt a knot in her stomach. She had created these weapons to protect humanity, but she knew what they would do. She knew how many would die. She tried not to think about it. On the 3rd day, the Kelthoran armada arrived. 1,000 warships, the largest fleet ever assembled by a single species. They entered the Helix Nebula in perfect formation, their weapons ready, their shields up. They came expecting a fight. They found 800 human ships waiting for them. The Kelthorans were pleased. They outnumbered the humans. This would be easy. Admiral Donghyun sat on the bridge of the TSS Retribution. He looked at the Kelthoran fleet on his sensors. 1,000 ships, millions of alien warriors, all of them about to die. He thought about asking them to surrender. He thought about giving them a chance to leave. But he remembered the orders. He remembered Hana's words. "Show them no mercy. Show them what happens when they threaten humanity." Make sure every species in the galaxy hears about this battle and trembles. All ships, Dongyun said quietly. Activate quantum disruptors. Fire at will. The human fleet fired. The Kelthoran shields tried to activate. They didn't work. The Kelthoran ships tried to evade. They were too slow. The quantum weapons hit them and reality itself seemed to break. Ships didn't explode. They didn't burn. They just stopped existing. One moment a Kelthoran dreadnought was there, huge and powerful. The next moment there was nothing. Not debris, not bodies. Just empty space. The battle lasted 18 minutes. When it was over, not a single Kelthoran ship remained. 1,000 vessels and all their crews simply erased from existence. The human fleet sat in the silence of the nebula. Their weapons still charged, their ships undamaged. Admiral Dongyun looked at the empty space where the enemy had been. He felt no joy, no satisfaction, just a cold certainty that humanity had changed forever. Send the report to Director Kim, he said. Mission accomplished. 0 casualties. Enemy completely eliminated. Light years away, Hana received the report. She read it once, then closed her eyes. When she opened them again, Jiho was staring at her. We just erased an entire fleet, he said quietly. 1,000 ships. Millions of people gone, just gone. Yes, does that bother you? Hana looked at him for a long moment. They came to kill us. They came to put us in our place. Every single one of them would have destroyed Earth if they could. So no, Colonel. It doesn't bother me at all. The news of the Kelthoran defeat reached every corner of the galaxy within hours. 1,000 ships erased in 18 minutes. No survivors. No wreckage. Just empty space where a grand armada had been. The Ashenkir dynasty sent an urgent message to Earth. They offered humanity a seat on the Galactic Council. Full membership. Equal status. Everything Hana had asked for 15 years ago. They begged Earth to accept and end the violence. Hana's response was broadcast across the entire galaxy. She appeared on every communication channel, her face cold and hard. 15 years ago I asked for peace. You laughed. Today you offer me what I asked for then, but you don't offer it because you believe we deserve it. You offer it because you're afraid. You don't get to decide when this war ends. We do. She ended the transmission. The galaxy watched in horror as human fleets began moving toward Ashenkir space. The major powers of the galaxy finally understood the threat. 12 species, the strongest military forces in the Federation, formed an emergency alliance. They called it the Coalition for Galactic Preservation. Their message was clear. Humanity had to be stopped before they destroyed everything. The coalition pooled their resources. 5,000 warships. It was the largest battle force ever assembled in galactic history. Every species contributed their best ships and finest warriors. They were determined to end the human threat once and for all. The coalition chose their meeting point carefully. Titan's Gate, a massive hyperspace junction that connected hundreds of star systems. If they controlled Titan's Gate, they could stop human expansion. They sent their fleet there and waited. Humanity responded by sending 800 ships. When coalition scouts reported the numbers, the alien commanders were pleased. 5,000 against 800. The humans were brave, but they were outnumbered more than 6 to 1. This time surely they would lose. Admiral Dongyun commanded the human fleet personally. He stood on the bridge of the TSS Retribution and watched as thousands of alien warships surrounded his force. His officers looked nervous. They had won every battle so far, but these odds were different. Admiral, his tactical officer said quietly, they have us completely surrounded. If we try to retreat, they'll chase us down. If we fight even with our technology, we might not survive. Dongyun nodded slowly. Contact Director Kim. Hana's face appeared on his screen. She was in her command center on Earth, watching the same tactical display he was seeing. They think they have us, Dongyun said. Should we proceed with Protocol Prometheus? Hana was quiet for a moment. Protocol Prometheus was their most extreme weapon. It had never been used in combat. Once deployed, there would be no going back. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way. Yes, she said finally. Execute Protocol Prometheus. Show them why they should have accepted our friendship instead of our fury. Dongyun nodded. All ships prepare for Protocol Prometheus. Release the swarm. From every human ship, small objects began launching into space. Millions of them. They were so small that the coalition sensors barely detected them. The alien commanders assumed they were some kind of debris or decoy. They ignored them and prepared to attack. The small objects reached the Coalition fleet. They attached themselves to the alien ships' hulls. Still, the aliens didn't understand what was happening. Their sensors showed no immediate threat. They began their attack run, then the swarm activated. The small objects were nanites, microscopic machines that could think and replicate themselves. They ate through ship hulls like acid through paper. Within minutes, they were inside the Coalition vessels, spreading through the systems, taking control. Coalition crews watched in horror as their own ships turned against them. Weapons that had been aimed at human vessels suddenly rotated and fired on their own allies. Ships that had been in perfect formation broke away and rammed into each other. Navigation systems went crazy, sending ships crashing into asteroids or jumping randomly through hyperspace. The Coalition commanders tried to shut down their systems. They tried to destroy their own ships rather than let the nanites control them. But the swarm was too fast, too intelligent. It learned from every defense and adapted immediately. Admiral Donghyun and the human fleet didn't fire a single shot. They just watched as 5,000 Coalition warships tore themselves apart. Some ships tried to run. The nanites made them explode. Some ships tried to surrender. The nanites didn't care. Within 6 hours, the greatest armada in galactic history was reduced to drifting scrap. When it was over, Donghyun sent one message to the survivors. Go home. Tell your leaders what you saw. Tell them humanity is coming. Tell them that resistance is pointless. The few ships that escaped spread the word. The story of Titan's Gate became a nightmare that every species in the galaxy whispered about. The humans hadn't even needed to fight. They had just released their machines and watched as the Coalition destroyed itself. 16 species surrendered to Earth immediately. They sent messages begging for mercy, offering tribute, promising loyalty. They would do anything to avoid what happened at Titan's Gate. Hana accepted their surrenders. But she wasn't finished. General Jiho led ground forces to liberate 2 small species. They were the only ones who had voted for humanity's membership 15 years ago. The Minax and the Tolvian people had been oppressed by larger powers for centuries. When human ships arrived in their space, they expected conquest. Instead, Jiho's forces helped them. Human engineers rebuilt their infrastructure. Human doctors treated their sick. Human teachers shared knowledge freely. When the Minax leader asked what Earth wanted in return, Jiho smiled. Nothing. You voted for us when no one else would. We don't forget our friends. Earth offered the Minax and Tolvians a true alliance, not as servants or vassals, but as equals. It was the first time in galactic history that a stronger power had offered genuine equality to weaker species. The galaxy noticed. Meanwhile, Dr. Yuna unveiled her final creation. She called it a stellar compression bomb. It could collapse a star, destroying entire solar systems. She demonstrated it on an uninhabited system, showing the galaxy what would happen to any species that continued to resist. The demonstration was broadcast across every communication network. Billions of beings watched as a star which had burned for billions of years collapsed into a black hole in minutes. Planets, moons, stations, everything in that system was gone forever. 16 more species surrendered the next day, then 20, then 40. The surrenders came so fast that Hana's staff couldn't process them all. Ambassador Suman Lee led a team of human soldiers to the Galactic Council chamber. The old council was still meeting, still trying to find some way to stop the humans. When Suman walked through those massive doors, the assembled aliens fell silent. She walked to the center of the floor. She stood exactly where Hana had stood 15 years before, but this time no one was laughing. This council is dissolved, Suman announced. Her voice echoed in the silence. The Galactic Federation no longer exists. There is only the Terran Concordat now. You will all receive new instructions about how to integrate into the new order. Those who comply will be treated fairly. Those who resist will be eliminated. You have 1 week to decide. She turned and walked out. Behind her, the oldest political body in the galaxy sat in shocked silence. 800 species, many of whom had ruled for thousands of years, suddenly had no power at all. The Vraxian Emperor sent a personal message to Hana. He appeared on her screen looking old and broken. His empire was in ruins. His fleets were destroyed. His colonies were occupied by human forces. Please, he said. His voice was weak. Please show mercy to my people. They are innocent. I am the one who mocked you. I am the one who refused you. Punish me, but spare them. Hana looked at the Emperor for a long moment. She thought about that day in the council chamber. She thought about his laughter, his contempt, his absolute certainty that humanity was nothing. "Your people are not innocent," she said quietly. "They cheered when you rejected us. They celebrated when you called us primitives. They would have enslaved us without a second thought. But I am not like you. I don't believe in punishing entire species for the sins of their leaders." She paused. "The Vraxian Empire is finished. Your military will be disbanded. Your worlds will be integrated into the Concordat. But your people will live. They will have food, shelter, and safety. More mercy than you would have shown us." The Emperor bowed his head. "Thank you. Don't thank me," Hana said. "Thank the fact that humans are better than you ever were." In her command center, surrounded by her closest advisors, Hana pulled up a map of the galaxy. Green markers showed human-controlled space. It covered nearly half of known space now. Red markers showed species still resisting. "There weren't many left. We've won," Jiho said. He sounded tired. "The major powers are defeated. The smaller species are surrendering. We control the galaxy. We can stop now." Hana shook her head. "Not yet. As long as anyone thinks they can challenge us, we're not safe. We finish this completely. Total victory or nothing." Dr. Yuna spoke up. She looked older than her years, exhausted by the weight of what her weapons had done. "Director Kim, we've killed billions. We've destroyed civilizations that were thousands of years old. At some point, we have to ask ourselves, have we become the monsters we were fighting against?" 2 years had passed since humanity conquered the galaxy. The year was 2865, and nothing looked the same anymore. The old Galactic Council chamber had been rebuilt on Earth. Hana Kim sat in the highest seat, the one where Thrixnall had sat when he mocked her. She was older now, her hair showing gray lines around her eyes. She bore the title of Supreme Director of the Terran Concordat. 800 species answered to her, but victory had come with a price that grew heavier every day. The galaxy was at peace, but it was the peace of fear. Human warships patrolled every major trade route. Human governors oversaw the governments of former Federation worlds. Human technology had spread everywhere, but so had human control. Species that had ruled themselves for thousands of years now took orders from Earth. General Jiho Park came to see Hana in her private office. He was older too, harder, but his eyes still held doubt. "We need to talk," he said, closing the door behind him. "Privately. What's wrong?" Hana asked. "Everything." Jiho pulled up reports on her desk display. 3 human colonies have petitioned for independence from the Concordat. They say we're too authoritarian, too controlling. They want the freedom to govern themselves. "Denied," Hana said immediately. "We can't show weakness. If we let 3 colonies go, others will follow. The Concordat will fall apart." "And that's exactly the problem," Jiho said. His voice was sharp. "Do you hear yourself? We're denying freedom to our own people. We fought the Federation because they tried to control us. Now we're doing the same thing to everyone else. It's not the same, isn't it?" Jiho leaned forward. "I've spent 2 years running peacekeeping operations across the galaxy. Do you know what I see? Resentment, fear, anger. The species we conquered hate us, and they're right to hate us. We destroyed their fleets. We killed billions. We took away their freedom. We've become exactly what we fought against." Hana's jaw tightened. "We gave them peace. We gave them stability. We ended the corruption and oppression that the old Federation allowed. We gave them chains," Jiho said quietly. "Pretty chains, but chains nonetheless." Before Hana could respond, another visitor arrived. Dr. Yuna Song had requested an emergency meeting. She looked terrible. Dark circles under her eyes, her hands shaking slightly. Hana had barely seen her in the past year. "I'm resigning," Yuna announced. "I won't develop any more weapons for the Concordat." "You can't resign," Hana said. "We need you. Your work keeps us safe." "Safe from what?" Yuna's voice broke. "We already defeated everyone. We already have weapons that can destroy stars. What more could you possibly need?" "No, Director. I'm done. I built these weapons to protect humanity. Instead, they were used to kill billions of innocent people. I won't have any more blood on my hands. Those people weren't innocent. They were enemies. They were fathers, mothers, children. They were living beings who died because I made it possible." Yuna's eyes filled with tears. "Every night I dream about Titan's Gate. 5,000 ships. Millions of people. They didn't explode or burn. They just stopped existing because of my nanites. I can't do this anymore. She turned and walked out. Hana didn't try to stop her. Ambassador Suman Lee brought worse news. She had been working with the occupied species, trying to integrate them into the Concordat. It wasn't going well. There are resistance movements forming, Suman reported. Small ones for now, but growing. They're planning attacks on human facilities. Some of them are even trying to rebuild military fleets in secret. The Kelthoran survivors are the most organized. They're calling for revenge against humanity. Find them and eliminate them, Hana ordered. That's exactly what they want us to do, Suman said. Every time we crush a resistance group, 10 more spring up. They're using our brutality to recruit more people. We're creating our own enemies. Admiral Dong-hyun was the last to bring his concerns. He entered Hana's office looking exhausted. The fleet is stretched too thin. We're trying to patrol the entire galaxy with 2,000 ships. It's not enough. We need to build more vessels, recruit more crews. But morale is low. Our people are tired. They want to go home. Then tell them to stay strong, Hana said. We can't relax. Not yet. When? Dong-hyun asked. When will it be safe enough? We've already beaten every enemy. We've already conquered the galaxy. What more do we need to do before our people can rest? Hana had no answer. She sat alone in her office after everyone left. The reports piled up on her desk. Rebellions, protests, discontent among human colonies. It was all falling apart despite their total military victory. She thought about that day in the council chamber 15 years ago. She had been so angry, so determined to make them pay. And she had succeeded. She had made them all pay. But now what? Now she ruled a galaxy that hated her. Now she commanded a military that was tired. Now she governed a concordat that was held together only by fear. Was this what victory was supposed to feel like? Hana made her decision. She called a meeting of her inner circle. Jiho, Dong-hyun, and Suman gathered in her office. She stood before them looking older and more tired than they had ever seen her. You're all right, she said quietly. We've become what we fought against. We've become tyrants, and that has to end. She pulled up a new document. I'm announcing the transition plan. Over the next 10 years, the Terran Concordat will transform into a true federation. Not like the old one. Better. Species will have real representation, real power, real freedom. You're giving up control? Jiho asked, surprised. Not giving up, sharing. We'll still maintain military superiority. We'll still be the strongest power in the galaxy, but we won't be dictators. We'll be partners. It's the only way this works long term. The other species will try to rebel the moment we show weakness, Dong-hyun warned. Then we remind them why they surrendered in the first place, Hana said. But we also show them that we can be fair, that we can be just. We help them rebuild. We share our technology. We prove that humanity can be trusted with power. She pulled up another document. General Jiho, you're in charge of the new Department of Reconciliation. Your job is to help integrate the conquered species and address their grievances. Actually listen to them. Actually help them. Jiho nodded slowly. I can do that. Admiral Dong-hyun reduced the fleet by half. Send ships home. Let crews retire. We keep enough force to maintain security, but we stop looking like an occupation army. And if someone attacks us while we're reducing forces? Dong-hyun asked. Then we respond with overwhelming force, Hana said. We're not becoming weak. We're becoming smart. There's a difference. What about you? Suman asked. What's your role in this new order? Hana was quiet for a moment. I'm stepping down as Supreme Director in 5 years. The Concordat needs a leader who isn't associated with the conquest. Someone who can build instead of destroy. You'll take my place, Suman. You'll be the first Chancellor of the new Federation. Me? Suman looked shocked. I'm not qualified to... You are. You've been working with the other species. You understand them. You don't carry the same anger I do. You can build something better. Over the next few years, the changes happened slowly but steadily. Human forces began helping rebuild destroyed worlds. War reparations flowed from Earth to the species that had suffered most. Former enemies were invited to participate in government. The prison camps were closed. The oppressive laws were repealed. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks. Some species tried to rebel and had to be reminded of human military power. Some human colonies protested that Earth was being too soft. But gradually the galaxy began to change. Dr. Yuna returned to work, but not on weapons. She led the effort to rebuild infrastructure on devastated worlds. Her technology, once used for destruction, now helped create clean energy, efficient food production, and advanced medicine. She still had nightmares, but she also had hope. General Jiho's Department of Reconciliation became one of the most important parts of the new government. He traveled to hundreds of worlds, listening to complaints, addressing grievances, and helping species find their place in the new order. It was slow work, but it was working. Admiral Donghyun commanded the new Joint Species Defense Fleet. Former enemies served alongside humans, learning to trust each other. It was awkward at first, but combat exercises and shared missions built respect. Slowly, very slowly, old wounds began to heal. 5 years after her announcement, Hana Kim stood before the galaxy one last time. She was in the rebuilt council chamber, but it looked different now. The seats were arranged in circles of equality, not hierarchy. Representatives from all species sat together. A young human student was allowed to ask her a question at the public forum. "Supreme Director Kim, do you regret what you did?" The chamber fell silent. Everyone wanted to hear her answer. The galaxy was watching. Hana thought carefully before responding. "I regret that it was necessary. 15 years ago, the galaxy gave us a choice between submission and survival. We chose survival. We made sure no species could ever force that choice on humanity again. Was it brutal? Yes. Was it excessive? Perhaps, but we're still here. We're still free. And no one will ever mock us again." She paused, looking around the chamber. "But my greatest fear isn't that we went too far. My fear is that we might forget why we fought. The moment humanity becomes the oppressor we destroyed, we lose everything we won. So I built a system that will outlast me.